You know, with Nelly Korda and Emily Pedersen, for instance, they hit a ball and it's like, I'm not against women's golf not being Thursday through to Sunday. We had to win to be recognised. We need more people to watch us. We need people to invest in us. The world's best players saying that, people listen. If you go to an event this year, that'll be your favourite.
I'm here with Sophie Walker, former Ladies European Tour player and now golf broadcaster. And Sophie has obviously played a lot of women's golf and she's watched an incredible amount of golf. So my first question to Sophie is, where are we at in the women's game right now?
It's a good question. It's a big question, and I think it's important that it's asked. I think we're near, but yet so far. That would be the best way to describe it in terms of the players. The performance levels, even since I retired, have just gone through the roof. We're seeing, people hitting the golf ball 260 minimum off the tee. Players are doing everything they can. In terms of where we are, we need some visibility. We need some media companies to get behind it and it to be put on television. It's long been said that nobody watches women's golf. Well, yeah, but nobody can find women's golf either. So if we can get it on some platforms and getting people engaging with it, it'll be shown. NBC said the Chevron Championship was their most viewed Chevron Championship to date. So the figures are to say that people will watch it. It's just getting the audience used to where it is and going out not only to watch it in person, but also through other broadcasting streams.
Are there any other innovations that you'd like to see other than broadcasting?
Money. I mean, when you mention where we are in the game, I think the fact the prize fund increase has been incredible, especially in the major championships. And if companies are investing that much money into prize funds, they're going to want to make sure people are watching. The infrastructure around the events is bigger. I want the majors to feel like a major. I don't want to hear players saying, oh yeah, the money's great, but it doesn't feel like a major. So the infrastructure behind that bit needs to be better. In the fact that I don't want to go up alongside men's golf. I don't want to compete against them. I know the calendar's very crossover. It'd be good if they could work together a little bit more instead of having, say, the Heritage up against the Chevron Championship and TV times. I'm not against women's golf not being Thursday through to Sunday. If something changes there to make it on at different times, so we're not actively competing against the men. Bringing some of the tours together in some of the conversations, I think that would certainly help to improve golf as a whole, because it's not like men's golf's winning and women's golf is losing. At the minute, it feels like both are losing.
And maybe more mixed tournaments. I mean, there's a few, aren't there, on only a couple on tour?
Yeah, the mixed events are good, but I think women are good enough. We're good enough to stand alone. And I'm really encouraged by the fact that the male players back the women's game so much. You've got Justin Rose with his Rose Ladies series. When a player goes well, you might see Tommy Fleetwood saying, oh, wow, watch that, that's great. So I think what the men's professional golf are doing well. It's just sponsorship, isn't it? Everyone is just fighting almost for the same type of sponsorship. And it'd be nice if we could get more sponsors on board. I hate to look at, if you have a daughter and a son, I hate the fact that you might have to look at the daughter and go, do you know what, you won't earn as much money as your brother. You won't have the same opportunities as your brother. It'd be nice if we could get a form of equality in what's available in terms of being able to play and earning a living.
That's coming actually across in all sports now, isn't it, for women? The footballers, the rugby players, trying to get to that level to young girls.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of my good friends, Casey Stoney, she was the England captain in kind of the early 2000s, late 2000s. I don't want to do her disjustice, actually. She captained around the 2000 times and into 2010 and 12. And I remember thinking, women's golf's up here and women's football's down here. Like, we're doing all right here. And then I've just seen this change massively. And obviously, football's a lot more accessible. It was on ITV, BBC, and it's easier to get behind a team I think that's what's happened. People have got behind a team, and in golf you don't have that, which is why it's important that when we see the excellence like a Lily Avu, a Nelly Korda, Charlie Hull, Georgia Hall in Britain, we back them and we put them on a pedestal and we have them everywhere, just like you would do if there was a successful male golfer.
Yeah. You've just mentioned Nelly there. We can't not talk about the Nelly Korda effect and her winning 5 in a row, and what boost that will give to the game. It should boost the game, should boost the LPGA, but just to keep that momentum going, really.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think that the players are doing their bit, and Nelly doesn't particularly like the limelight or talking too much, but she certainly likes it more than Scottie Scheffler does, and she is almost born to do it. She's an athlete, she's from the Korda family, there's a tennis background, they're used to elite and excellence and being put in front of cameras, and what she's been saying in her press conferences is arguably just as important as her performances. So she's been saying, we need more people to watch us, we need people to invest in us. If the world's best player's saying that, people listen more. What she's doing on the golf course, we've only seen it from Annika Sorensen and Nancy Lopez. In the women's game, we haven't had somebody significantly performing like we have with Nelly Korda this year since Inbee Park. And I believe that's what's needed. We need somebody to hang our coat on to say, this is the person that you need to turn on the television to watch. If you're a casual golfer, you might not be turning on the LPGA Tour, but I think you would have had an interest in that 5 in a row. And the fact that I was getting phoned up by news channels on Monday morning saying, could you come on and talk about Nelly Korda? Not sports, news channels. I never have that, never have it. So that's a real important thing to do. And the rest of the players, it's time for them to step up, really. And I hope Lily Avu gets better with her bad back, because that's what you want as well. You want a bit of a jewel, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've been there, done it, and we're talking now about the best players in the world, but what does it really take to get there? I don't think people on the outside, club golfers, we don't realise what that dedication, what you actually need to be the best, whether it's technique, whether it's mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I've not reached the heights of the Nelly Korda, but I have played elite golf, and what I say to the kids when I'm giving them some advice is, there's no plan B. Plan A has to be, I want to be the best player in the world, and you have to live and breathe it. And that's why you see people get burnt out, because that's all they've done. And you got to treat it like a job. It's an 8 hour a day job. And the team seems to be the really important thing, which I think you can build from a young age now. So you get a good coach around you, physio, psychologist, caddy, and it's not just playing golf, it's not even practicing, it's training. That's what you've got to see it as now. So when you head to the practice ground, you have a list of what you are going to do to accomplish that day. It's not just hitting 7 irons over and over again. It's, I'm going to work on this part of my swing, maybe some swing work, and then I'm going to move into a performance aspect of how many shots can I hit at that flag out of 10, what's the ranking, and then I'm going to do my yardages, how far does everything go. When I'm on the putting green, I'll do some stroke work, and then I'll do some result work. I think that's what separates the best golfers, is they know what they need to work on, and they will work on that in order for them to carry that golf swing out onto the golf course. You go down a driving range, there's very few players that you stand behind and go, wow, that's different, because they're all very good. You know, a Nelly Korda and Emily Pedersen, for instance, they hit a ball and it's like, this is incredible. But at the very top level, it's mostly mindset. That's why Nelly's been so amazing. The fact she's won 5 in a row is because she's stayed in her own bubble and hasn't let what's happened in the past and the future interrupt her. That's what Charlie Hull does so well. I mean, Charlie really does enjoy golf. And it can get to the point where you don't. It becomes a bit of a job.
That's so easier said than done, isn't it?
Yes.
Well?
I mean, it's easier said than done for an amateur. You go out there, don't you, thinking, I'm going to really enjoy this. I've been at work all week. And then after 4 holes, you're calling yourself every name under the sun. And then you think these players have got to do 72 holes worth of staying in the present, which is mentally really hard to do.
Talking about the majors, I mean, we've got 5 women's majors. Do you think that's too many?
I don't think we can go back now.
No.
So I think the discussion's ended, in my opinion. We've got 5. The reason we've got 5 is because the women's game really needed Evian. You know, they were struggling for sponsorships at a major level, and Evian came in and said, we will treat these women how they deserve to be treated. We will pay them properly, the hotels, the golf course, you will come here and feel special at a time when we really weren't feeling special. So we have 5 now, and I think we end that conversation.
I've attended that tour. I mean, it is fabulous.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
they
it's
have
a real
champagne,
lifestyle, isn't it? It's
till like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, you know,
probably why I liked it.
It's one hell of a players' lounge.
What about, do you think we'll ever see a women's championship at Augusta? I mean, the AMWA is fantastic, but I think it's, I don't know, I'd love to see the likes of Nelly and Lilia Vu and Charlie.
I'm sure they would like to
Augusta.
as well. I don't know. They do it their own way, don't they? And I think what Augusta National have done with the ANWA has been spectacular. It's suddenly the most important tournament in women's amateur golf, and it's only been going a handful of years.
Now, that word live that we hear so much about with the men's tour, there were obviously rumours at one point that the LPGA were in discussion with talking about a live women's tour. What do you think about that? Would you think that would ever be a possibility? Would we want that really?
I might dust my clubs off. They pay a lot of money, don't they?
I'll take 50 million.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's been a significant Saudi investment even before Live in the women's game with the Ladies European Tour. They have the Aramco Team Series, which is 5 events a year. So they've already really helped out the Ladies European Tour. And what will happen is whoever runs Live will have learnt from their experiences over the past few years in the men's game, and they'll learn what works and what doesn't work. But we know that money's no object, so if that's what they want, then they will certainly try it. What happens with the Aramco Team Series is they invite big names. So the likes of Lexi Thompson, Danielle Kang, Lilia Vu, that they've all been invited and they play in those events, and you could say that that's an injection of money, like an invitational. I have no idea, because no idea whatsoever. But they've already invested in women's golf in one way or another,
which has been brilliant for the LIT.
Yeah, it has. I think what I would look at it if I was them, that we don't want to pull golf apart again. So it has to be a way of working together. And if it was working with the LPGA, LET and all the other women's tours, and it could be a way of working together, I think that's fine. But we don't want it pulled apart. I want to see the best players playing at the same events.
I mean, it's such a big year, isn't it, this year for women's golf? We've got the Olympics, we've got the AIG Women's Open at St Andrews, and then another Solheim, which is fantastic. So just looking at them, you know, one by one, we've got the Olympics first. Do you think, how much importance do you think the players put on the Olympics? Because, you know, when we've had it before in other countries, because it's in Paris this year, but some of the players have pulled out for various reasons. Do you think they regard the Olympics highly? It's something that they really want to go and play and win a gold or try and win a medal?
When you think of it now, this is the 3rd time.
Yeah.
Tokyo, COVID.
Yeah.
Rio, there was some health issues about going over there, and it was the first one. I think things have changed a lot now, and if you're comparing the men's and the women's game, less women pulled out in general. You look at it from that point of view. I know Lydia Ko is very keen to get a gold medal. She's had a silver and a bronze, and you look what it did to Nelly Korda's career, winning a gold medal. I believe that it'll be right up on everybody's agenda for representing their country. And Celine Boutier, can you imagine if Celine wins in Paris, French player? I mean, she won Evian last year, which I was like, oh, great. We need those type of stories, don't we? We just spoke about the Nelly one. If Charlie would have won the AIG Women's Open.
Nearly.
Unfortunately, it's a little bit what Leah Williams said with the women's football. We had to win to be recognised. And I feel like we're at that point now that we've got to win to be recognised. Hopefully things will change.
Yeah. The AIG St Andrews, I mean, it's the third time it's been there. What are your thoughts on St Andrews? I mean, I think it's an amazing place. So what's your experience of playing there, and what can we expect, do you think, this year?
Well, I played my first ever Women's Open at St Andrews, 2007, I think it was, the year that Lorena Ochoa won. And you were just walking around going, oh, we've done it. That felt significant, actually, and it was a shame we didn't jump on with that. I thought, is this it? The venues that we're going to get now are going to be really cool. And venues are important. You know, people are watching Lottie Woad win the Anwar, not because it's Lottie Woad, it's because it's Augusta National, okay? And now they know who Lottie is, which is great. People are going to watch the IG Women's Open because it's around the old course. Actually suits women, drawers of the golf balls, you've got to keep it down the left-hand side. I remember taking a local caddy. One of my friends was supposed to caddy for me, and I had a local for qualifying. So Open qualifying was on the new course on the Monday. And this guy caddy for me, and he was brilliant. He knew everything. And last hole, I wanted to go straight at the pin, and he said, Sophie, 20 feet left of it. I went, I'm playing well. Like, he's like, honestly, if you go at the pin, it's going to catch a downslope straight through the back. At least 20 feet left of it. Did that, got up there, two-putted, thought, yeah, he was right, got in the Open. So I kept him for the actual tournament. So my friend just came up to watch. All of the Tiger Woods winning the Open, just recently the 150th with Cam Smith winning. We, as fans, the holes are in our brain. The 17th hole, the 18th hole. That's so important. It doesn't really matter who's now playing. You're gonna do that. So I'm really impressed with what the venues have been like. I thought it was a huge step forward last year for the Walton Heath. I thought the fan village at Walton Heath was incredible. The fans that went was very good, obviously around the M25, so there was a lot of people there. But I've told everybody, I was like, don't go to Troon for the men's. No. Come, Troon's small, you'll struggle to see much. Get yourself to St Andrews. Not only will you see an amazing golf course, you'll then see the women golfers. There won't be as many crowds. Look, we can't beat around the bush here. There won't be. No. But I think it's going to be, if you go to an event this year, that'll be your favourite, men's or women's golf.
I mean, St Andrews is just so unique. I mean,
you can walk around in your golf shoes, can't you? Like I love going to the pub and being in your golf shoes.
Not needing to change. And
you walk down the street and there's a kid with his golf bag at the bus stop. And it's like, you know, when I was that age, like golf was like, you couldn't do that. But even when I used to go there as a kid, 15, 16 years old, golf felt really normal. And it was just part of the life. The course is just in the town, isn't it? And for that week that I'd probably be up there, it was like, oh, okay, I fit in here. Don't fit in many places.
So is that one of your top 5 links courses, St Andrews?
Oh, for what it is, yeah. Just as you turn and you come back into the town. I'm renowned for not liking hilly golf courses. I grew up on the East Coast, it's very flat. So, yeah, St Andrews ticks a box in the sense that it's flat.
And what are your other 4 then in that top 5?
Right, Linksy. So Royal County Down is my hands down favourite. I'm hoping to go play there in August. It's my birthday. So I'm booked a trip to Northern Ireland, so I'd hope to get out onto that. So that would be that one. Royal Birkdale, Hillside. I'm also going to play Port Rush, which I haven't played since the British Am, so I like that one. Turnberry, like proper good, that one. And then Royal Dornoch. So there's probably a bit more there, but Royal Dornoch, I went on a girls' trip up there playing in a Pro-Am, and you get the views, don't you? Get some really pretty views at Dornoch.
I haven't played this.
Oh, you must. It's really good. It's worth the trip.
And then Solheim.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I must ask you, top 5 Solheim experiences.
Do you know what? Last year was the first time I'd ever been to a Solheim. It's crazy, isn't it? Because normally I was playing, and it was like, oh, I've got a week off. Do I want a week off, or do I want to go and walk around the golf course and be really tired? So I'd say my first ever Solheim, what I remember on television, was Karen Coke in a woolly hat with her pigtails playing in the rain at Loch Lomond and hitting 7-wood and 9-wood, was it, everywhere, and winning. So that was my first memory of that. What else was pretty cool? Caroline Headwell going 5-0. So I was just crossing the Caroline Headwell era as an amateur. And
that Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado. The Anna Nordquist hole-in-one, which led to the 5-0. That was special.
I was standing on the tee then.
Was you? Did you give her the right club?
Yeah, of course.
Just hit this club. So I got those two. I mean, look, I think my favourite is Suzanne.
Oh.
The Suzanne putt. It's just like anybody. Like you say to people, who would you want over that putt? Like literally Suzanne. And do you know what? Suzanne would want it as well, because there's many people that probably wouldn't want it. It's like, oh, you're all right. But Suzanne wanted it. She's one of these people like, pass me the ball, I'll do it. That's my favourite Solheim Cup moment. Look, Carlotta, you know, brilliant. Like, in fact, I played Finca Cortesane a couple of weeks back, and I recreated.
Oh,
I went to the tee box, the pin was on the left, the king wasn't watching, there's nobody around, but I hit to that pin. That was pretty cool. And you know what? I can do that. I can hit to 150-yard left flag. What I couldn't do was the Caroline Headwell 3-wood. So if anyone goes to Finca Cortesane, go by that bunker on the left-hand side and look where she hit 3-wood from, to a green which feels, well, it doesn't even look like it's there. It looks so small, you're hitting across it, bunkers. That is still one of the best shots I've ever seen, and especially in those circumstances. It was like mind-boggling.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, Killeen Castle was another one as well. That was a good one.
I mean, it's probably too early to say, but do you think there are any players that we should really be looking out for that we think, oh, they might make the team this year, that have had a good start?
I don't think there'll be a lot of change.
I mean, the American
because it's
team
only
was very
been a
young,
year,
wasn't it, last year? So
I don't think there'll be too much change. I think Esther Henselite's got a great shout. She came second at the Saudi Ladies International, and she did all right at the Chevron as well. Got herself into the top 100 in the world.
She's up there, isn't she?
Young German player. Yeah, I think that's somebody for the European team. And then Lauren Coughlin, however you want to say it, from America. Her aim is Solheim this year. It's not winning a major. No. It's not winning an LPGA event. She lives about an hour away from the golf course.
Right.
And that'd be, I always think if you have somebody local, we saw with Carlotta, didn't we? Like how much that makes a big difference. And in America, that will make a big difference if Lauren gets in the team.
So we've spoken a lot about the professional tour, but looking at grassroots golf, how do you think things have changed to now, to when you were a junior?
I don't know, really. I mean, I was very fortunate as a junior. There was about 100 members. I had like 100 junior members at my course at Cleethorpes, and we were accepted. You were allowed to play in the tournaments. The pro was great with us. There was plenty going on in the summer holidays. And if you speak to most of us British women pro golfers, we all had that childhood as, I might have been the only girl, but the lads didn't matter. Like we all just played, and it was great. You don't come to many golf courses with that anymore, and it's a shame. Here at Stockport, they've got a big push for it. In terms of like the lads, the boys section, we're pretty full. It's just now, can we get more of the young girls coming out?
It's retaining them, isn't it?
It is. It's retaining both boys and girls, but mostly girls past the age of maybe 14, 13, where other things, education is far more important to girls than it is to guys. Caring what people think of you seems to be really important, more than ever actually, really important with social media and everything. So that's gonna be difficult to keep attention. Nowadays 30 seconds, that's what we do a social media clip, and it's like no more than a minute, because nobody can concentrate for more than a minute, especially the youngsters. I'm thinking, oh God, they got 4 hours out there. They're definitely not going to be able to concentrate for that. So there's so many other obstacles, I think, that the game of golf has got, as well as, so for instance, like a young girl might have been a hockey player now. She was a hockey player because she couldn't be a footballer. You weren't allowed to be footballers, remember? No. Now, you can be a footballer.
Or a rugby player or a cricketer.
Yeah, but especially football. So you're hearing about all these young girls teams that used to have 6 players, and they've now got 60 players or 100 players. Football's going to take a lot of women's sport away from golf. And it's like, right, we've got another problem now. There's only so much to go around. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe if they play football in the winter and then golf in the summer, that'll be certainly helpful. But it's very hard. It's because it's an individual sport, and girls like to be around each other. Don't like being by ourselves. We don't like the competition of it all. So maybe having more girls groups, which I think is obviously what everyone's trying to do, but make golf not about the score, which I never thought I'd be saying that. But now I try not to ask people their handicap or if they're a member of a golf course, because it alienates them straight away.
Yeah.
Like, what is a golfer now? Don't have to be a member or a handicap, do you? So it's trying to gauge that, I think, as well. It's a big job. Like, everyone asks what the answer is, and there's very few of us. I feel like in women's golf, if you're good, that's it, you'll stay in it, and you'll probably be a pro.
Yeah.
But if you're not that, what happens to you? Whereas with lads, they'll carry on through uni, and they might get down to single figures when they're young enough, and then life gets in the way and the handicap goes up, but they're always still playing. With women, it's like, well, you're going to be an elite golfer, and you're going to get in a system, and you're going to play county golf, you're going to play England golf, or whatever it is, international golf, and you might even go even higher and play pro golf.
Get on that pathway.
But if you're just, and I don't want to say average because I don't mean it to be average, but if you're a 20 handicapper, there's nothing for you.
Yeah.
That's not right, is it?
No, and that's, it's how can we get more women playing golf?
More female coaches. I think more role models. So we're talking about Nelly, but role models below.
Yeah.
Not the unattainable ones, like your PE teachers, the people that volunteer at the clubs, somebody that you look up to that doesn't have to be this big superstar. That certainly helps. So you want the stars, but you also want a presence. You don't really want to walk into a golf club and think, am I the only woman here? Which is often the case.
Does stop women from playing, amongst other things. Whether they, the perception still of what they think golf is. Whether it's too expensive or whether it's still too male orientated.
I think there seems to be a barrier straight away, doesn't there? Where actually, if you can get through that, I mean, the barrier, whatever it is, it's just getting them through the doors to start with, I suppose. I think good coffee helps at a golf club. A lot of people focus far too much on the actual golf course, whereas the facilities are arguably just as important for us women, whereas I think the men are more bothered about the golf course, having a shorter form.
Making it fun environment, fun formats.
Yeah.
Just to get them into it. Dress code.
I think dress code's changing. I think we've kind of had that one. I think, it's not perfect, but it's certainly changing.
We've moved on.
Yes, thankfully we are making. I also just feel with golf, like if they advertise golf, so coaching lessons, memberships, they advertise it to golfers. I'm like, you're preaching to the converted. I don't need that on a Facebook site that I'm already on. I need it to be advertised at the local hairdressers, at the local gyms, schools. People that aren't playing golf see it. I don't need it on the notice board in the locker room because we're already members. So
telling you about slow play.
Yeah. That's what Golf Monthly do, isn't it?
So if you could change one thing about the way the game of golf at grassroots level treats women, what would it be? I know we've spoken about a few different issues, but...
Treats women? Look, luckily I've never had any issues, especially with that. I think men get quite a bad rep. I have no issues with men. Sometimes it's the women that have a go at me. So, I'm fortunate that I've always been around golf clubs that have been fine. Maybe look, Saturdays. There has to be an opportunity for people that work, man or woman, to play on Saturdays. So if they could, and I don't quite know how you do this, but almost release tee times for people that need them the most. I don't know what that word is to somebody, that man or woman that's retired.
I think now,
do they need the 9:00 Saturday time? Probably not.
There's more working women that play golf, And it's just, you hear that a lot, that they just don't have accessible tea times at the weekend. So it's just unfair when they're paying the same membership.
But I think people are paying the same membership, aren't they? Whereas before, you used to go to clubs and men would be paying more and women would be paying less. So the privileges weren't the same.
But there is still an element of the women have a Tuesday, but that's still unfair because of the working women.
Yeah. Well, maybe, you know, it needs to be a golf club for everybody, and tournaments need to be open for everybody. And the thing is, some of the women might not like that.
No.
Playing, you know, men on a Tuesday, playing in our comps, and the men don't like. So I think there's a barrier both sides.
Oh, definitely.
I don't, as I say, I'm quite reluctant to just blame men for this. I think we all need to be better, but it would be nice for an opportunity for people that do work to have a bit more of a priority and to be able to play at weekends.
That's great. I think we've covered a lot.
Have we fixed golf?
We have.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much, Sophie.
No problem.